Welcome to the Land Your Bet Sports Betting Show. We have a bunch more bets here for you on Monday after a couple that we threw at you on Sunday night, getting ahead of that early slate here with 12 games in the NBA. So a lot to look at. We just had a number of things come out on the injury report, including the first bet that I have here, what has been impacted by it anyway. Vince Williams, I was always going to go with him. I was also looking at mixing in some Luca Donic as well against these Kings. And now Luca Donic is officially out, and Vince Will is a late questionable tag. Never a good sign when it's a late questionable tag. Means that there's probably not that much time to recover from it or to necessarily massage it and heal it before the game starts. If it does, though, Vince Will for the points without question. We still don't have any other props for guys like David Roddy or anybody else that might get more minutes as a result of Kennard being out. But Vince Will still has his props up, and he's questionable, not out. So we're going to say that he is still a good best bet at 12.5 points. I liked he and Kennard to go over because they're playing the Kings. And all of this stuff that I'm talking about for Vince Will, except for attacking the rim, applies to Luke Kennard. The thing about Kennard was I was also going to go with assists because Kennard has really turned into the point guard of this team based on how many touches he has, how many potential assists, how many assists made or passes made, just dribbles in general. He is the point guard now. And Triple J has the ball in his hands almost as much as Luke Kennard, slightly less, but almost as much. So I wanted to go with assists for him. I was going to put together a nice ladder. We were getting plus money for him to get 5 assists, and he's had 10 potential assists in his last 3 starts for this team, and as he's really turned into the point guard. But that's not about, this bet is about the other lefty on this team, not Luke Kennard, but the lefty Vince Will. And like I said, everything that applies to Luke Kennard for why we would take him is also why I was always going with Vince Williams as well at 12.5 points. This will probably go up if he's in this game. There's almost no question because Luke Kennard is out, and they are the they're the backcourt, basically. Let's just put it that way, right? They're the starting backcourt. Kennard is certainly taking on the point guard duties. Vince Will is still your typical shooting guard who is either getting the ball and scoring from the perimeter or getting the ball and going right to the basket. And that's why he's such a great player for volume and for quality of shots. And he gets 4 free throw attempts a game. So the fact that he's shooting from deep, he's the number 1 catch and shoot guy for Memphis now because Luke Kennard's not in. Luke Kennard takes 9 catch and shoot, or maybe it's more than that, catch and shoot shots per game. Vince Will's at about 7, right? So he's second on the team in terms of who they're looking for to spot up. And he's always going to be out there on the perimeter waiting for the dribble drive from guys like Triple J, or if the ball goes down low and comes back out, Vince Will is the top candidate to be catching it now that Luke Kennard is out. And Luke Kennard was dribbling a bunch and trying to drive and dish as well. So either way, Vince Will, like I said, great option against the Kings, who are not bad against the mid-range shot. It's the only shot that Vince Will doesn't take. He's either going to the basket to get inside the paint, or he's shooting from the corner or the top of the key. So with the amount of minutes that he gets, no matter what, whomever plays for this Grizzlies team, he's in there as the dude getting minutes alongside Triple J as their basically second most important player. Luke Kennard gets minutes too. He just gets hurt, and he's not the defender that Vince Williams is. So he can't be in at quite as many lineups as you can put in Vince Williams, who's a nice big defender. Love Vince Will. You guys have seen me taking a couple times. I'm about 1 for 2 taking him, but this is just a great spot against an awful backcourt defense without Luke Kennard if we get that. So second bet here, I love this bet because I love the game theory behind it, right? So Aaron Gordon does go over this number for his rebounds against the Milwaukee Bucks. So we're going over 5.5 boards for Ago, minus 138 on FanDuel. If you want to bump that up to 6.5, you will get plus 115 on your money, but don't get worse than that if you're going to take 6 boards. If you are going to take 8 boards with me, I'm laddering it up to 8+ for a little sprinkle of 0.3 units at 2-1 on my money here for him to get 8 rebounds. He's averaging 9 in his last 4 versus Giannis. And that's all I care about. I mean, these two teams have been essentially the same teams. Obviously, Drew Holiday used to be out there, better rebounding guard than Dame Lillard, honestly. So more rebounds only available with Drew gone. But more importantly for Ago, he's guarding Giannis. That's it. He defends Giannis, so he gets the minutes. And more importantly than just the minutes, he gets the chances, right? So he's averaging 9 boards in his last 4 versus this team on 32 minutes. 14 rebound chances last year, average, by the way, in the 2 games that he played against his team, including a 14 rebound game, which was without Michael Porter Jr. But the point, Jokic was, that was also without Jokic. So the 14, this is a little bit inflated, but he's still gotten 7, 7, and 6 boards. 9 boards in the last 3. So the 9 rebounds is definitely inflated. I don't want to come across as just being like, he always gets 9, but the 8 is there because he's gotten 7 anyway. And the rebound chances are there because even when Jokic was in last year, he had a few more rebound chances than Jokic, which is wild because where he's playing on the floor, right? It's really that simple. Jokic, when he's on defense, is getting pulled away from the basket by Brook Lopez, so he's not quite as available for rebounds. Michael Porter Jr., the other dude who sort of rivals Ego as far as like wing guys and forwards, right, that are going down and getting the rebounds for the Denver Nuggets. MPJ would be the other guy that you'd be worried about. He's actually even fewer rebound chances than Kentavious Caldwell-Pope when they played against the Bucks, because KCP is guarding guys a little bit more down. He was guarding like more Chris Middleton, who plays a little bit lower than does the guys that MPJ was guarding, right? MPJ's not guarding Chris Middleton. He was guarding Joe Ingles, Pat Connaughton. He'll be probably guarding some Malik Beasley is who I would imagine he's lined up against in this one. Maybe that goes, and then you've got Jamal and Dame going at it. However you want to do that, Michael Porter Jr. on defense is treated like a guard. That's why his in this specific matchup, which is why there's not as many chances for him. He's just not playing down low. Ego, whenever Aaron Gordon has a guy to bang against and to like go down low and play bully ball with, Giannis Antetokounmpo, who's maybe one of the only dudes in the league stronger than Aaron Gordon, you know that he's going to be in there and be the one guy who you expect to be on Giannis to the best of his ability. No one expects you to stop Giannis, but because you're there and there for the rebound chances, great bet for us to get a little ladder on Ego and see if we can get some extra juice there. All right, third best bet that I'm bringing you. I have 5 on the day, and I'll run through this. The other 2 I brought you earlier, and I'm still going with those. I love those first 2 bets I brought you in the other video. So let me finish it out here, though, with Luca Donic to go under 58.5 PRA. Shout out Nate Weitzer, my co-host on the Coast to Coast podcast for thelines.com, which I haven't shouted out in a while. Still doing that one every morning with Nate. Not bringing quite the same picks, but I am going to bring this Luca pick here because I do really love his find on that one. Also going to take a quick sec to say subscribe to the page if you would, if you're liking what you're getting here. I'm going to go through the record here in a minute with you guys as well, so you can see how we've been doing. I know I haven't started off the last 3 or so videos with the record. I'm trying to get into the bets more quickly, and then I'll come back to this record, do it more weekly and monthly as well, and show you those totals here in a little bit. I don't have the weekly, monthly totals just yet, but we'll go through the bets in a second. Closing it out, though, with Luca. Under, because it's just too high, man. I know it's Luca, but we're still at a ridiculous number here, in part because he just scored 73 versus Atlanta, which was wild. It was versus Atlanta, though. It was wild versus Atlanta. And then he came back and had another awesome offensive game versus a very bad defense again in Sacramento. That was on the road. Sac won that game. No Kyrie. Had a triple-double. Luca was Luca. Did amazing stuff. 55 points, rebounds, and assists. Nothing to be ashamed of. That is an absurd amount of points, rebounds, and assists. But it's not 58.5. All right. So if it's not 59, then it's still not good enough. Orlando in their last 10, playing super slow, the slowest, 92.3 pace, a 115 defensive rating. They've been better at defense in the past this season. But if you look at the way that they play Luca, they are a team that is built to defend him as well as anybody can defend him. I don't care about numbers versus point guards, small forwards, whatever, when it comes to Luca Doncic or like a LeBron James or even like a Kevin Durant. Those numbers don't really matter. Those dudes defy their positions. They're not held to these dumb archetypes of player, of point guard, not point guard, whatever the hell that even means these days. But the main thing is that Orlando limits the things that Luca would need to do to be good. They limit 3-pointers, they limit assists, they limit free throw attempts. Bada boom. That's what, if you can do that, then you're at least poised to be able to hold Luca to under 59 points, rebounds, and assists. And this is also inflated, by the way, because Kyrie Irving is not playing. And Kyrie hasn't played in a lot of games since he's come to Dallas. In fact, about 20. And Luca has still averaged 54 PRA in those games without Kyrie. He's also probably might be without Derrick Jones Jr., probably without Dwight Powell in this one. Not good. Out with Dante Exum, who isn't actually necessarily going to take away from Luca. He actually does some of the same stuff, so like he's not on the floor at the same time as Luca, but he probably would have been in this game. And that was a solid outlet for Luca at any given point, because Exum has been incredible as sort of the really athletic driving force of the second unit for this team. And then he could come in and play with Luca, but he's not available as well. He's doubtful to play, most likely not going to show up in this one. So Luca's going to be doing it all himself, and that might make you think he's just going to have the ball in his hands more, but that's impossible. If he doesn't have the help, the assists aren't going to necessarily be there. They're at 9.5. Might consider that under. They were at 10.5 and they got bet down because people agree with that thinking. So he's just going to have to do too much, man. If he has a 40 burger in this game, that still means he needs 19 rebounds and assists combined. That is still an absurd amount of statistics against a very good defensive team that's very slow, very good rebounding. Limits assists, limits threes, like I said. So that's what I like there. Let's run through the bets. That's all the time I have for you guys. Just going to go through all 5 here. The first 2 on the top there, Colin Sexton and Brook Lopez, those were in the first video. I'm bringing you guys a video each night, the night before. I also asked you on the community tab to comment, if you would, and give me a little answer to a poll that I put out on the YouTube community here, a post that I made so that I could see what you guys are thinking about the videos that are coming out the night before and the videos that are coming out today, right? Like, is this a good process for most people who are watching these videos? I want to know if you guys are getting something out of the ones the night before and this one. So if you could comment, like, how you like the structure of videos coming out the night before, videos coming out day of, as I've been doing now for the last like 3 or 4 nights, right? So keep me posted on that. Subscribe to the page again. These are the 2 bets I made earlier. If you didn't see the video, definitely want to go hit that one up as well. Colin Sexton, Brooke Lopez. Ran through the slate, ran through a lot of the games as well, and these matchups here between these 2 teams. Vince Williams at the bottom there, like we just talked about, over 12.5 points. Really, really, really want him to play. And then Luca Donic under, that should say 58.5 PRA. We get the 58 there. That was a late one from PointsBet, which is a book that keeps giving us some decent numbers, even though we get low limits on it. Aaron Gordon over 5.5 boards, minus 138 on FanDuel. It's a really bad price, but it's the best one by far. There's like minus 150, minus 155 is available on most books for him to go over 5.5 boards. And then we also like him to get 8+ at 2-1 on our money with a little third of a unit on that. All right. Quick run through of how we did on Saturday. We had a lot of bets, 2 videos on Saturday as well, Friday night and into Saturday, and got a bunch of bets out there. Really got helped out by that Lakers and Warriors game, which I think we were actually good going into overtime. We didn't really need overtime for those AD and D'Lo bets, nor did we need it for Jonathan Kuminga. All that same game parlay hit, which was nice to get us 6.5 units or so back on our money. D'Lo had 28, AD had like more than that, and Utah whooped up on Charlotte, but only ended up winning by like 12, despite being up by about 20 or 30 for a large part of that game. Miami did not play a single lick of defense, and that's how the Knicks got helped just go right over 218.5. And then Fred VanVleet, that was a bad look. Maybe I should buy into the idea. It wasn't a bad look. He did get the volume. The game ended up being close, and he had some to do with it. He only ended up with 13, so about 3 points off, but did shoot a really bad percentage. And to be honest, the Fred VanVleet look is like, he's been wildly awful on second leg of back-to-backs. Only once in the 6 times that he's gone back-to-back has he even scored 15 points this season. So for some reason, Fred is not doing it on the offensive end on the second leg of back-to-backs. And Jalen Brunson should not be fading him, and definitely shouldn't be fading him as Julius Randle is out, because he didn't really need Julius to like take too much away from what he's able to do. He's just cooking guys right now is Jalen Brunson, and mea culpa to my favorite point guard of all time, because he is the best Knicks point guard of all time. Don't even please come at me with that, anybody. He is already by far the best Knicks point guard of all time. We went 4-3, 1.5 a unit. The Playa Props was 2-2, but we hit that parlay, so we won 7.7 units on that, and that kept us afloat to get us a half a unit. So on the season now, we are at 152 and 132. We're only up 6.5 units there total, but the Playa Props keep working for us, so we're going to keep going to them. Plus 19.8, that is the bread and butter. That is the thing that I have the most insight on, and I like to keep going with these ladders. You can see 0-4, but only minus 0.8 units. It's not about the record. It's about the units. So let's go ahead and get it today, y'all. That is all the time that I have, like I've said a couple times now. So I appreciate everybody. Definitely subscribe to that page. Got a college basketball video coming out tonight for hoop heads who are looking at the college game. Oaks is still going strong with his videos now. He is, I believe, like 10-6 in his last 16 bets here that he's put out for us. So we're feeling really good about the way that he's coming towards us on college hoops. Good luck tonight with that 12-game slate. Still going to be coming back tonight on Monday night with a video for Tuesday. Until I see you then, happy betting.